Have you ever noticed that the person you care about most is the one who seems to care the least? Is it emotional manipulation, unconscious defense, or a stoic truth hiding in plain sight? And why do those who appear indifferent often hold the most power over our emotions? Let's pause and reflect. How many times have you found yourself longing for someone's attention, checking your phone, replaying your words, hoping for a sign only to be met with cold silence? The harder you try, the more they seem to retreat. Yet, strangely, those who remain distant, who don't chase or even seem to care, somehow draw others in effortlessly. It's not random. It's not personal. It's a paradox one the Stoics understood long ago. True power, they believed, comes not from seeking approval, but from learning the art of detachment. The person who ignores you may not be cruel. In fact, knowingly or unknowingly, they might just be operating within one of the most powerful laws of human behavior. Scarcity creates value. When attention is too easy to get, it loses its weight. And when something feels rare like attention, affection, or presence, it becomes magnetic. So if you've been feeling overlooked by someone you deeply care about, ask yourself, are you trying to force a response that should come naturally? And more importantly, are you giving away your own power in the process? Stay with me. We're about to dive deep into a powerful Stoic concept that explains this dynamic. Let's begin with the first insight, the paradox of attention. Why we want what we can't seem to have. Why is it that the more desperately we seek someone's attention, the more they distance themselves? And then, as soon as we let go and stop caring, they come rushing back. Is it just coincidence? Or is it something built into our nature? Think back. Maybe it was a close friend, a romantic partner, or someone you admired. You reached out, made yourself available, tried to earn their approval, but got nothing in return. Meanwhile, the people you barely noticed, they were drawn to you, almost like gravity pulling them in. This isn't about games or manipulation. It's human psychology in action. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, once said, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." And this is exactly what happens when we center someone else in our emotional universe. The moment you place someone on a pedestal, you give them silent permission to overlook you. They don't even need to reject you. Your eagerness does it for them. Here lies the hidden truth. We are biologically wired to pursue what feels scarce. It's the law of value. The rarer something appears, the more desirable it becomes. That's why luxury brands set astronomical prices. That's why people line up for limited editions. And that's why emotional detachment, paradoxically, holds irresistible power. And this leads us to the next powerful insight. Let's continue to explore why emotional scarcity isn't cruelty, it's clarity. As we explored earlier, the more we chase what's scarce, especially attention, the more we diminish its value. Now let's take that understanding one step deeper. Think about sneakers. Limited releases sell out instantly, not because they're inherently better, but because they're hard to get. The same principle applies in relationships. The person who ignores you isn't necessarily more special. Yet, oddly, they hold a strange power over you. Seneca, the Roman philosopher, saw this clearly long before psychology gave it a name. He once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." And what better example than wasting emotional energy chasing those who show little interest? We convince ourselves that if we can just get that one person's attention, it will somehow validate our worth. But the Stoics shattered this illusion. A person's coldness doesn't make them more valuable, it simply reflects how much control over yourself you're willing to surrender. Here's the hard truth. The more you chase, the less valuable you appear, both to them and to yourself. Just as gold is treasured because it is rare, so too is attention. When it's handed out too easily, it becomes invisible. So how do you flip this dynamic? The answer lies in something deceptively simple, yet profoundly difficult: detachment. The moment you stop needing their attention is the moment you begin attracting it. It's ironic, isn't it? But incredibly true. When you stop asking, "Why won't they notice me?" and instead begin asking, "Why do I need their notice?" you shift from dependency to self-possession. That's where real power lives. Direct your energy inward. Sharpen your thinking. Learn to regulate your emotions. Choose your own path, even when it's quiet. In doing so, you stop seeking validation, because you begin to live in a way that naturally commands it. This is the Stoic shift: to reclaim your mind, your time, and your emotional freedom. Once you do, something unexpected happens. The very people who once ignored you begin to notice. You become the presence they didn't anticipate, the one who no longer needs them. And suddenly, that makes you magnetic. Previously, we uncovered a powerful truth. The moment you stop needing approval is the moment you start reclaiming your power. Now let's look deeper into why this craving for validation quietly drains your strength. Here's the raw truth. Approval is an illusion. It feels solid, even addictive, but the moment you detach from it, when you no longer need others to clap for you, you become emotionally untouchable, unshakable, and that's when your real power begins. But let's talk about the hidden cost. Have you ever noticed that the most admired people, the ones who seem to radiate self-assurance, rarely chase recognition? They don't try to please. They don't beg to be noticed. And yet, others naturally gravitate toward them. Why? Because seeking approval is, at its core, a subtle form of self-betrayal. It sends a silent signal to the world. My self-worth is negotiable. It shows you're willing to shape yourself into whatever version others prefer, just to be accepted. And once people sense that, their respect quietly fades. Marcus Aurelius once observed, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Let that really sink in. You are the only person who will be with you every single moment of your life, and yet, so many of us let the passing opinions of strangers dictate our mood, our decisions, even our sense of identity. Once you wake up to this, the trap becomes obvious. This is where the Stoic path to detachment begins. Detachment doesn't mean becoming cold or distant. It means taking your power back. It's the realization that your worth is not determined by applause or criticism. It's not tied to who notices you or approves of your actions. It's rooted deep within, and only you can define it. So how do you break free? The Stoics offer a powerful yet simple solution. See approval for what it truly is: temporary and fragile. Today's compliments may vanish tomorrow. One moment you're celebrated, the next moment you're forgotten. So why base your value on something so unstable? Build your life on principles, not popularity. Train your emotions like a disciplined warrior. Whether you're praised or criticized, stay grounded. As Seneca wrote, "A wise man is content with himself." If you're truly at peace with who you are, no insult can shake you, and no compliment can inflate you. Instead of asking, "Do they approve of me?" Ask a better question. Do I approve of myself? Make decisions that align with your core values, not society's expectations. This internal shift, though quiet, is massive. Now imagine walking into any room not needing validation, not chasing acceptance, but with a calm confidence that radiates from within. A presence that says, I am enough, whether you see it or not. That's what true detachment looks like. And that is ultimate freedom. In the last section, we uncovered the power of emotional detachment, how freeing yourself from the need for approval makes you unshakable. Now let's dive even deeper into the next silent enemy of inner peace: desire. Why is it that we always seem to want what we can't have? And why does chasing something, love, attention, success, seem to push it further out of reach? This isn't bad luck. It's not random. It's a law of the mind. The Stoics understood this deeply. Desire is a trap. The more obsessively you want something, the more it slips away, not because the universe is punishing you, but because that craving quietly erodes your power. The tighter you cling, the weaker you become. Epictetus gave us a timeless warning. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life, and it is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. But instead of following that wisdom, most people do the opposite. They cling, they chase, they crave. They make external things, love, approval, outcomes, the center of their happiness. And in doing so, they become captives of their own desire. Let's break this down further. The scarcity effect explains why we crave what feels out of reach. Imagine two identical bottles of water. One is sitting on the shelf, easy to grab. The other is behind a glass case, labeled limited edition. Which one seems more valuable? Logically, they're the same. But psychologically, the one behind the glass suddenly feels precious. Scarcity tricks the brain. It creates false value, and we fall for it every time. This illusion seeps into every part of life, in relationships, finances, social status. When something is hard to get, we assume it must be important. Marcus Aurelius understood this well when he said, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." When you want something too intensely, when you build your happiness around it, you give it power over you. You create a mental illusion that you need it to survive. And that illusion leads to fear, anxiety, and ultimately, self-sabotage. Think about it. Have you noticed how the people who are most desperate for money often struggle to make it? Or how those craving love the most are the ones who face rejection? It's not a cruel twist of fate. It's the psychology of scarcity in action. Desperation repels. It signals weakness, and weakness never attracts strength. Seneca put it perfectly. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. When you believe something is scarce, whether it's love, opportunity, or approval, you create stress, fear, and irrational behavior. And those emotions drive you to act in ways that push what you want even further away. So how do we break free? The Stoic solution is detachment, but not the cold, emotionless kind. This is about cultivating an abundance mindset. Stop overvaluing what feels rare. Stop chasing what keeps running. And instead, become the source. Want respect? Embody it. Want love? Radiate it. Want peace? Stop begging the world for it and build it within. In the last part, we explored how detachment and an abundance mindset can free you from the trap of desire. Now let's shift focus inward and talk about the kind of strength that doesn't scream, but simply is. If you're longing for love, the most powerful place to begin is with yourself. Be whole on your own. Let go of the illusion that anything or anyone outside of you can complete what's missing. Because the truth is, nothing external ever can. Marcus Aurelius said it best. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Real strength comes from the inside. It's quiet, unshakable when you live from a place of inner abundance, when you genuinely feel like what you have and who you are is enough. You stop chasing. And ironically, that's when the world starts offering more. Opportunities find you. People respect you. Not because you need them, but because you don't. This is what ultimate freedom looks like. It's the feeling of being untouchable. Imagine walking through life unbothered by rejection, unshaken by loss. Not because you've grown cold, but because you've grown complete. You know who you are. You know what matters. You don't need to cling to anything. You simply choose what aligns with your values. This is the Stoic path. And this is true power. But there's something even deeper behind this kind of strength, something that holds the key to emotional mastery. Let's move forward and explore the next principle. Why indifference is more powerful than love. Now that might sound shocking at first. How could indifference possibly hold more power than love? Here's the twist. Most people think love is the strongest force in the world. But love, when uncontrolled, can make you fragile. It can make you dependent. It can pull you into chaos, especially when your happiness becomes tied to how someone else feels or acts. The Stoics understood this with piercing clarity. Again, Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. And yet, how often do we willingly give that power away? How often do we allow emotions to dictate our worth, our choices, even our identity? Here's the truth. Emotional control is the ultimate weapon. The one who masters their emotions masters life. But here's where society confuses us. We're told that wearing your heart on your sleeve is noble. That feeling everything deeply is a sign of strength. That to love fully is to live fully. But no one talks about the shadow side of that story. Because love without boundaries, without control, isn't always strength. It can become weakness in disguise. Picture someone who gives endlessly, even when they're disrespected. Who tolerates betrayal in the name of unconditional love. Is that strength? Or is it self-destruction, dressed up as virtue? Now contrast that with someone who loves with depth, but not with dependency. Someone who feels deeply, but doesn't cling. Who can walk away from what no longer serves them with clarity, composure, and peace. Ask yourself, which of the two holds more power? Previously, we explored why controlled love is powerful, but uncontrolled emotion can be a trap. Now, let's uncover the silent force that commands the deepest respect, indifference. But don't misunderstand this word. Indifference isn't about not caring, it's about not being controlled. It's the ability to remain steady and whole, regardless of what others do or say. It's about maintaining your center, even when everything around you is trying to pull you off balance. The Stoics pursued a state they called apatheia, a calm, unshaken inner peace. In this state, external chaos has no grip on your internal clarity. Epictetus said it best. Anyone who enjoys serenity of mind is neither pushed nor pulled by the emotions of others. And this is exactly why indifference is so powerful and even feared. It signals something rare, inner strength. When you remain composed, it tells the world, your words can't shake me. Your behavior doesn't define me. I am whole with or without your approval. This quiet, grounded strength is magnetic. People are drawn to those who seem immune to drama, who cannot be easily provoked or manipulated. So how do you develop this kind of powerful indifference without becoming cold or detached from life? The goal isn't to stop feeling. It's to stop being ruled by what you feel. Here's how the Stoics approached it. Detach from outcomes. When you want something too much, it begins to control you. Seneca once said, "A wise man is content with himself." That wisdom teaches us that real power lies in not depending on outcomes, winning or losing. Just being grounded in yourself. Master your reactions. The moment you react emotionally, you hand over your power. Marcus Aurelius trained himself to remain indifferent, not just to insults, but also to praise, because both are fleeting, and neither define who you are. Be intentional with your energy. Not everything deserves a response. Ask yourself, will this matter 1 week from now, 1 year from now? If the answer is no, let it go. Choose peace over pointless reaction. And here's the ultimate truth. Indifference is freedom. Yes, love is powerful. But love that comes with chains of expectation, need, and fear is not freedom. It's dependency. When you master indifference, you free yourself from emotional manipulation, from toxic attachments, from the exhausting need to constantly be validated. And that is the definition of real power: silent, steady, unshakable. In the last section, we uncovered the hidden strength behind indifference, how remaining emotionally steady gives you the power to rise above chaos. Now let's go one step deeper into the discipline that makes that possible. Mastering the art of non-reaction. When you no longer let people or situations dictate your emotional state, you step into a kind of freedom most never experience. And the person who learns to stay calm, especially when provoked, becomes truly untouchable. But why is that? Because most people believe reacting loudly or intensely means strength. They think raising their voice, arguing back, or proving a point makes them dominant. But in truth, it does the opposite. It reveals insecurity. It shows they've lost control. The one who argues every time? That's ego talking. The one who needs to win every debate? That's fear of being seen as weak. The one who gets triggered by the smallest things? That's someone easily manipulated. Marcus Aurelius reminded us with clarity, you always have the option of having no opinion. Think about the power in that. Imagine someone trying to provoke you, and you simply choose silence. They yell, and you stay calm. They insult, and you smile. While they spin out of control, you remain still. That is dominance. Not the loud kind. The kind that radiates quiet authority. Non-reaction commands immediate respect. Why? Because respect can't be forced. It's inspired. And nothing inspires more respect than emotional mastery. When someone insults you and you don't respond, they lose power. When someone tests your patience and you remain composed, they see you as unreachable. When others are ruled by emotion and you are ruled by reason, they admire you, whether they admit it or not. Seneca captured this perfectly. A wise man is neither raised up by prosperity nor cast down by adversity. In other words, nothing shakes him, and once you stop reacting, you become unreadable, unpredictable, unshakable, and people instinctively respect what they cannot control. So how can you build this level of control? Here's the Stoic method too. Mastering non-reaction. 1. Pause before responding. The moment you're triggered, breathe. Give yourself space. Ask, is this worth my energy? Most of the time, it's not. Point 2. Detach from external opinions. Marcus Aurelius trained himself to remain neutral to both praise and criticism. Why? Because neither one defines you. Only you do. 3. Use silence as your weapon. The less you say, the more weight your words carry. The most respected people speak only when necessary, and when they do, the room listens. Here's the final truth. The one who reacts the least holds the most power. Imagine being immune to insults. Imagine people trying to get under your skin and failing. Imagine walking into any room and commanding attention without saying a word. That's what happens when you master the art of non-reaction. It's not just a skill, it's the ultimate power move. In the last section, we explored how mastering non-reaction makes you unshakable. Now, let's peel back another powerful Stoic layer. Freedom from attachment. What if I told you that everything you cling to, your goals, your relationships, your identity, is not making you stronger, but actually keeping you weak? That the things you hold on to the tightest are the very chains that quietly control your life. Most people believe attachment is a sign of love, loyalty, or ambition. But the Stoics saw things differently. They knew that attachment breeds suffering. The moment you need something too much, you hand over your power to it. Epictetus put it simply and profoundly. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Think about that. The more you crave, the more control you lose. The more you cling, the more fragile you become. But the moment you learn to let go, something shifts. You no longer live in fear. You stop being owned by outcomes. And that's when you find real freedom. Let's illustrate this with a powerful image. Imagine two warriors. One steps onto the battlefield with everything to lose: wealth, reputation, family. The other steps forward with nothing to lose. No fear, no attachment. Which one is stronger? It's always the one who fights free of fear. The one who can walk away. That's the paradox of attachment. The more you depend on something, the more it controls your every move. If you need approval, others can manipulate you with compliments. If you're terrified of losing money, you'll avoid risks, even the ones worth taking. If you're unable to walk away from toxic people, you'll end up tolerating pain disguised as love. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And he was right. The moment you detach from outcomes, you become untouchable. You become free. Now, take a moment to reflect. Think back to the times in your life when you experienced the deepest pain: heartbreak, failure, betrayal. Was the pain caused by the actual event, or by your attachment to how things were supposed to be? Pain doesn't come from reality, it comes from resisting reality. And resistance is born from attachment. That's why the Stoics practiced amor fati, the love of fate. It means accepting life fully, not as you wish it to be, but as it is. The more you cling to how things should have turned out, the more you suffer. The more you let go, the freer you become. So how do we free ourselves from attachment? The Stoics gave us tools. 1. Practice voluntary discomfort. Seneca would sleep on the floor, fast, and go without comfort, not because he was a masochist, but to prove to himself, I can live without. The less you need, the freer you are. 2. Mentally rehearse loss. Remind yourself daily, I may lose this. Not out of fear, but out of preparation. Marcus Aurelius meditated on death, not to be morbid, but to appreciate life more deeply. and release the need to control it. Point 3. Master the art of walking away. Don't cling to what no longer serves you. Don't beg for what's fading. When you can walk away with peace, you've already won. Previously, we explored the liberating power of releasing attachment, of walking away when something no longer serves your growth. Now comes the ultimate test of that freedom. Can you let go without hesitation? Whether it's a person, a job, or a belief, if it no longer aligns with your values, let it go. Not with bitterness, not with fear, but with quiet strength. Because here's the final truth. Real strength is found in letting go. Just imagine waking up tomorrow completely steady, unshaken by opinions, untouched by loss. Imagine moving through the world with presence, clarity, and peace, connected to everything, but clinging to nothing. Imagine loving with your whole heart, but never needing love to feel whole. That is true power. That is real freedom, and the Stoics knew it well. Everything you cling to, every desire you refuse to release, every belief you think you can't live without isn't just a comfort, it's a test. A challenge to see whether you lead your life, or whether your attachments lead you. They understood this better than anyone, because attachment weakens. It limits, but detachment empowers. It frees. Seneca once said, "He is most powerful who has power over himself." That's the secret. Not power over others, not power over outcomes, but over yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, your responses. Because the one who needs nothing, who can walk away from anything, at any time, that person is truly, completely free. Now pause. Ask yourself, what controls you? What, if taken away, would shake you to your core? Whatever your answer is, that's your next challenge. That's the place where your strength must grow. That's what you must release. Because mastering yourself is not a destination, it's a lifelong journey. And it begins with a single conscious step toward detachment. So now, take a breath and take that step. Let go. And remember, the less you need, the more powerful you become.